What's going on, guys? This is the Founder Hour podcast. I'm your co-host, Pat.
And I'm Posh.
And we're joined by Rob Gough. Is that how you pronounce your last name?
It is.
You also go by Rob G.
Rob G.
On Instagram. So what's up, Rob? Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I know you got your hands in a lot of things, so really excited to kind of just dive in. But why don't we kind of get started with where did you grow up? What was your childhood like? Give us kind of a little bit of a rundown there.
Grew up in the south side of Indianapolis, so near this place called Greenwood.
Okay.
And middle-class family, basic childhood. But yeah, Midwest.
What's it like out there? Because we're focused on LA founders, so a lot of the folks we've interviewed are actually from LA too. So
Okay, are you guys from LA?
Yeah, we're from LA too. So
Got it.
Kind of give us what's the
It's
vibe out there?
different. It's you have the different seasons, which is great. I lived in a neighborhood where people, you're playing in the streets and you have to come home when the lights come on. Whereas like where I live now, I live in Hollywood in the hills and no one talks to each other.
Yeah.
You don't know your neighbors. I didn't even know my next door neighbor has 2 kids until living there for like 4 years. So you know all your neighbors. The winter, you're shoveling the neighbor's driveway for them or bringing their trash cans up. So it's very, I guess, friendly and very helpful.
Yeah. Kind of like those neighborhoods you see on TV, like the
It's just a normal, normal for me. But, it's freezing cold in the winter. Fall's a little chilly, hot in the summer. And it's just Midwest living, I guess.
Midwest life.
What did your parents do when you were growing up?
So my mother was always an entrepreneur, trying different kinds of businesses. She made shirts for different things and sold them at the mall, or she worked. She was a bus driver. She just did like odd jobs, I guess, and just always kind of her main focus was really just being a mother and taking care of myself and my 2 sisters. So her main job was that, and then she did stuff on the side, and then she became a real estate agent. But real estate agents in Indiana are much different than real estate agents here. Whereas
he's in the real estate business.
yeah, great. But you're selling $60,000 homes there, and you're crushing it if you get like a $200,000 home. Right. So you got to do a lot of volume. Here you're selling a house, easily for millions of dollars. So it's a much different thing. And then I grew up with my stepfather, who was he worked for FedEx for 30 years. He was a manager there, and that's what they did.
Did you ever find yourself being more influenced by your mother and her entrepreneurial, endeavors growing up? Did you think that that's something that you want to do, just kind of try a bunch of different things, or did you have something that you really want to focus on? You're super passionate about X, whatever it may be.
So for me, I always wanted to do my own business. Even when I was super young, I would go to Florida and find shark's teeth on the beach, and I'd find sand dollars, and I'd bring them back to Indiana and sell them in garage sales. Or I would sell rocks from the neighbor's house to the neighbor. I got in trouble for selling airheads.
Like their own rocks?
Their own rocks, yeah, when I was really young, yeah. I was crushing it. Wow. I sold airheads on the bus, did really well with that until I got busted. My mom made me give all the money to the church. I sold...
So you were a young philanthropist.
Yeah, always. Yeah. Well, yeah. She forced me. But it was worth it. A good lesson, that you should do what is legal. And I lied to her about it and said that I was able to do this.
Yeah.
But it was straight profit because my grandmother took me to Sam's Club and bought me the airheads. So I was selling them for 25 cents and just
classic flip,
crushing it.
Yeah.
I was doing so good.
But like besides kind of those things, like was there anything else you were like super interested in that kind of like if someone older was to look at you when you were a kid, you'd be like, oh, he's going to do that when he grows up?
I think everybody knew I was going to do business. What was I interested in? Making money. Yeah. That's all it was.
Why were you interested in making money? I mean, what was the reason behind that? Like, what was it that was driving you to be focused on making money?
I don't know, because I didn't really want for anything. It's not like I had no desire for physical goods. I mean, I bought with the Airhead money, I bought Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Nintendo game, and that was great, but it's not like I was one of those kids that I need stuff to be happy. I was very content with just playing with anything, like we had blinds in the bedroom and my mother got new blinds. So I took those blinds and made this concoction where a marble would fly down the thing. So it's not like I wanted stuff. I just liked the game of making money. It was like the art of the sell. I liked selling stuff. That was my drug, I guess, just selling stuff. Even as a kid, I loved it. And my grandfather was very successful. He was the president of this drugstore chain called Hook's Drugs, which sold to Revco and sold to CBS. But he even, getting a quarter from him was a massive deal. And he retired when I was 7 and kind of built a house next door to me. So I always had him to have that second father figure. But it was, I always wanted to please him, So I think it was a fact that I wanted to please him eventually. But really, I think I just like to sell stuff.
Do you remember the biggest lesson you learned from your grandfather in terms of business and, whether it was growing a business or whether it was dealing with employees or whatever it may be? Was there anything that was something that you remember now looking back that he taught you that has carried on throughout your business years?
Yeah, a lot of things. So one, I make a lot of big decisions and, it's from how to, setting up things in 4 years when we sell, like what decisions made now are very important then from tax situations or whatever. But and as a kid, I thought I was making big decisions too. And he would always, so I was kind of back and forth on a lot of things. And so one advice that he gave me that I still use to this day, and it really changed my life, was just make a decision. Don't think too much about it. And, if you are right 51% of the time, you're right a majority of the time. So at the end of the day, just make a decision and stick with it. I think for me, I overanalyze, well, not overanalyze, but I analyze a lot of things.
Yeah.
And so
I think it's common for a lot of entrepreneurs and folks who are business minded. It's just like your mind is racing and you think of every scenario and should I do this? Should I not do this? These are all the reasons why I should do it. These are all the reasons why I shouldn't.
Definitely.
And you're just always thinking, sometimes it's like indecision or just lagging a decision can massively affect how quickly you go to market, how quickly you take advantage of an opportunity, whatever it might be, right?
Definitely. So at the end of the day, you got to make a decision.
Yeah. So it's a great skill to have.
And if you make, he's true though. If you make 6 out of 10 decisions, you're 50%. That's great. You're right a majority of the time. Mm-hmm. Sorry, you're 60%. But
when did you get out of Indiana?
So I got out of Indiana about 8 years ago.
Okay, so not too long ago.
No, I got out of Indiana because I acquired a piece of a .com company that was already doing really well. We tried to run it from Indiana, and basically, that industry, there weren't a lot of good talent at the time in Indiana. So it's not that it wasn't good talent, but it wasn't experienced talent from our specific business.
Right.
So I was recruiting people from one of our competitors, and they were all out here. And so and my business partner was out here. So just and I was at that point, I was running the whole office in Indy, and my business partner was all alone in California, and I was kind of doing more work than him. And I was like, man, this is crazy. Managing these employees is a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
So
clearly I jumped the gun here on you moving out of Indiana, but what did you do after, all those years of selling, whether it was the rocks or the airheads or whatever? How did your educational career progress? Did you end up going to high school, college, grad school? What was that like?
Yeah, high school, and then I went to college. So I went to this place called Ball State University.
Ball State?
Yeah, it's in Muncie, Indiana. And, Letterman was there. That's what it's kind of famous for. So they have a big entrepreneurship program. They were at the time, I think, top 5. So I went there for that. And then I got sick with cancer. So I took a year off for that. And I went back to Ball State. And I was already kind of, again, doing weird business. So I was selling OEM Microsoft products on eBay. It was like when eBay first was kind of getting going. So I would take a product. I found a blind shipper in California. I was paying like $20 for these OEM products, student versions and full versions. And I was selling them for a few $100 each on eBay, and I was crushing it. And anyways, I just kind of did all these different jobs. I was doing big events on campus where their parties were shut down. The cops kind of did something wrong and they shut down all the parties. So I would rent out this venue and I got a caterer's license. So I was able to have alcohol, but the company was kind of like going to a wedding. So you could have people of all ages there, and I charged for admitting, people to come, and I had performers and different contests, and so I was just kind of always doing random things. Really did well, and then I moved to Indiana because the business school was just more well known, and I felt like I already got the
Indiana University.
Indiana University.
So you transferred there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's in Bloomington, Indiana, called Kelly School of Business is what the goal was. So yeah, transferred there, and then started a business at Ball State I was working on it. It was a unique auction thing that I came up with. But yeah, moved to Indiana.
Was your major business or were you focusing on entrepreneurship, or you were just kind of taking different classes?
No, it was business for sure.
Yeah.
The major was marketing, distribution management, and economics.
Okay.
And
It's kind of close to what I did. I did marketing and entrepreneurship. So
it's perfect.
business, yeah.
And where'd you go?
USC.
Oh, cool. Great school.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good. They had the entrepreneurship program, and then they got rid of it right when I went. So it was kind of like bummer.
Got it.
But it was like kind of nice too because you could make like your own thing out of it. So you can take whatever like upper division classes. So I have my thoughts about B school, but it's nice.
Yeah, me too.
It was good. Yeah.
I think school is very important to show that you can start and complete something.
Yeah.
I think it's a good way to meet new people, be around new environments.
It's an expensive way to do it too.
It's a very expensive way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even when I was in school, I had an Indy car in the Indy 500 that I finagled and worked out, and I asked my professor. Well, I asked this particular story. I asked the professor for like a question about marketing, and the lady said, "You know more about this stuff than I do. You have a car in the Indy 500." And then I got like a B in the class, and so I'm like, "This is such bullshit." That
That's what it is. Like, I mean, most of the professors, I don't want to generalize here, but a lot of them teach like from either books or like their own thing, but they're not really like, they've been teaching for a long time. They don't know what's going on right now at this very moment.
One of the oldest sayings in the book is, if you can't do, teach.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
Not saying that that's always the case. There are a lot of, people that come off the working field and come and want to give back, but
But it's not as many people like
a
that.
majority of them, if you can't do
Even these
teach, it's
entrepreneurship
true.
classes, like a lot of them haven't even started a business before. They're just academics. Like they've studied it. That's about it. I had a professor who had a PhD in entrepreneurship, but he never started a company.
It's
I was like,
crazy.
what is this?
And you spend how many thousands of dollars?
I don't want to talk about it. I see it every month and I'm just crying.
It's crazy.
So, kind of going back to when you were at Ball State, you said kind of in between your college career, you found out you had cancer. Is there anything like you can shed light on, like how that affected? Obviously, I'm sure it affected your life a lot, but how was that process? Just kind of having to take a break from school and
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. So I was 18 years old. I just finished my freshman year in school, and the pain happened while I was still finishing up at the end of the year. So I fought through the pain. Basically, my big toe swelled up. Fought through it to the end of the year. We came back to Indianapolis. I got some doctor visits in Muncie. They misdiagnosed everything. But you think about it, when you're 18 years old, you think that you're invincible.
Right.
You think that, you don't really have any worries. You're 18 years old. What do you have to worry about? You have nothing to worry about. So for me, it was just a life change. And I don't think I even realized what it was, like how, big it was, what I was going through or what I was about to embark on. But, even when you get this particular cancer, it's a bone cancer, very aggressive. And, normally you have about 70% chance in dying. I don't even think I realized kind of what that meant, because I don't even think I ever thought I was going to die. I always just was like, screw it, whatever, just let's get it going.
So you were positive about it from day one? I mean, you were just
Yeah.
like, whatever, this too shall pass?
Yeah, I was pretty damn positive about it. I've always just had this mentality that I'm just going to get through anything and I'm going to crush it.
What do you think makes you that way?
Man, I don't know. I mean, because I really believe it. And that's the weirdest thing because there's nothing. I mean, even with, business, when there's big downswings in certain things, I'm just like, this sucks and I'm wearing it on my shoulders. But I never think, oh, I'm going to fail. I've just never thought I was going to fail at anything. I just know that I'll be fine. I think my mother, during my whole life, she's always been that person that said, can't never did anything. So if I said, oh, I can't do that, she's like, can't never did anything. Like, you can do anything, like, do it. And I think probably her telling me this my whole life, like, constantly, because as a kid, you're like, I can't do that. No, I can't do that. And her just making you do it anyways, that probably just transformed me. Because, yeah, even with that, I just knew I'd be okay.
And you obviously ended up being okay.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it was a rough journey at the end. So, your body gets worn down over, this is 17 months of chemotherapy and really intense. Not, you're in there for 5 days straight, just getting pounded, and then you be out for 2 weeks and you have no immune system. But then you go back for, it's like this, it's a whole thing. You go 5 days straight, out for 2 weeks, 5 days or 3 days straight, out for 2 weeks, 5 days straight, and you just keep doing it.
And at the time, like, you're not able to really do much else, right?
Can't really be around people either because you have no immune system.
Yeah, your white blood cells.
Yeah, you don't want to
you
take that
can't do
risk.
anything.
Everything. So I couldn't eat fruits or vegetables because they have mold spores that we're constantly fighting off. Couldn't really do much. There'd be like a few days that I have people over and play poker, have some guys over, but.
So, like, here you are, like, you're 18 years old, you're literally given, like, a 30% chance of living, right? I mean, I know you said, like, it kind of reshapes the way you think about it, but, like, how has that really impacted kind of just, like, the rest of the trajectory of your life up until now? Like, how has it impacted it?
So I think two things. One, I think you have to realize that we're not promised tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, anybody that dies today, like, they didn't go in thinking today's their last day.
Right.
You wake up and you think about the shitty things you have to do next month or the bills you have to pay or the whatever. You always have plans. I mean, and it can be changed in a brief second. There was this girl that I went to high school with. She was older than us, but like a year older or something, but she was this big gymnast, and that was her dream. And she had a full ride to school, and that was her life. And then on the way back from a college visit, they got in a wreck, and she became paralyzed from the neck down. So, that young girl had her whole life that she probably dreamt of and said, this is what my life is going to be like. I'm getting ready to go to college, and it's going to be great. And then in a second, her life is very different. So I think for me, it just showed that appreciate every damn second and every moment to be healthy and every moment to be here, and then it could be changed in a brief second, and to really, I guess, always appreciate waking up and appreciate the life you're able to live. I mean, not a day goes by that I don't wake up and, like, in my house looking out the view or looking at your car, looking at who you're around and going, dude, I am so lucky to be here. I cannot believe this is my life. So I think that probably, but I've always been a positive person, but that probably changed and probably just reassured myself that I can get through anything.
And I'm sure it put a lot of things into perspective, like, for your life. So when you did get back to school and kind of just back to regular day to day, did you have, like, a dead set focus on, like, I want to do this thing, or was it still kind of like I'm trying to figure it out, or I want to do business, but I don't know what yet?
I've always known that I want to do business, so I just always had that. Like, I was kind of ready just to get back and going. I'm a very aggressive and hungry person, so I wanted to get back to school. I wanted to get it over with. I was always that kid that wanted to, like, make money. Yeah. So, and it's not the
Which
money
is
part.
tough to do while in school because you have to go to all these classes and you're spending money to go.
But I was in school though. I was doing other things. I did those events. Right. I did other stuff. So I think for me, it was just I wanted to get back in the game.
Were you like the popular, connected kid on campus? Like, did people know you, or you were just kind of always behind the scenes?
I mean, I lived in a fraternity. Yeah, I knew a lot of people. I think the fraternity helped. I was always just kind of friends with everybody, so I didn't really stick to. I wasn't really super close with anybody or a lot of people, but I was friends with everybody. Does that make sense?
Totally.
A lot of acquaintances, not many best friends.
Exactly right. So, that was my deal. And then when I got sick, because you have a lot of acquaintances, not a lot of close friends, not a lot of people are going to be there, So that was a lesson at 18 when you think all these people are your friends, not just acquaintances, and they're going to all be there. And then,
So I'm sure when you got back into it, I mean, you were kind of much more mature than everybody else just because life had given you this, I guess it had dealt you this hand that you didn't really know that you were going to deal with, and you got through it. And did you end up finishing school?
I finished school, but I finished from the Kelly School of Business, but in Indianapolis. So I went to then a year Bloomington, and then I moved to Indianapolis to finish, to chase this dream of this tech company, and because the business school denied me in Bloomington. So the loophole was to go and get in Indianapolis.
It was like a different campus?
Different campus, same degree.
Got it.
So what happened was I had a teacher and gave me a bad grade. This teacher was wrong with the grade that she gave me, so I got the grade by going above her head. But getting the grade, then it blacklisted me from getting into the business school. So I learned politics at a very young age.
Yeah.
But I also learned loopholes, and that's where I just transferred to Indianapolis. I got the same degree.
Great.
So you win the battle, but you lose the war. So that's what I learned. Like I got my grade, but I lost. You got to play more calculated.
Right, exactly. So what was this tech company that you were chasing, you said?
So it was called Bidaroo. It was a unique bid auction. It was the first one out. So what it was is I would sell, let's use a plasma television, for example. So let's say a plasma television retails for $1,000. So I would sell it for $50. And the way the winner was found was it was the highest unique bid, closest to my price, the bidder price, without going over. So basically, if you bid 50 and you bid 50, you're not unique, so you do not win. If I bid $49.99 and I was the only one that bids that amount, I would win it for that price. Makes sense?
But it can't exceed 50?
You can't go over 50.
Don't you want it to go over 50?
No. So the way I made money is every bid placed, win or lose, is $10. So in theory, I'd bring in 1,000 bids at $10 a pop.
So $10,000.
So I'd make $10,000 and sell a television for $49.99. Make sense?
Yeah.
But would those other people that did not win come back?
They would, because they would. Just like
because it seems more like gambling.
so,
it's gamified, but it's gambling.
So it's similar to a raffle, but gambling was illegal at the time.
Right. This is another loophole.
So I've hired lawyers when I didn't have money, and I spent every dollar I had on lawyers to make sure I wouldn't go to jail because I was, conservative Indiana, and you want to make sure.
Yeah.
So basically, I spent $60,000, I think, in college. I spent college loans and stuff, paying these lawyers for information that should have been a very simple problem. So basically, to be gambling at the time, I don't know how it is now, you had to have three things: a game of chance, a cost to enter, and a prize.
You had 2 out of the 3.
If you get rid of one, it's not gambling.
Right.
But the prize would be the television. A game of chance, I proved that it was not a game of chance.
Right.
And the guys that won about every time, because basically there was a flaw in the system to where basically everybody would throw a dart at the dartboard. They'd throw like 3 darts. They'd go 50, 49.98, 49.91. And everybody threw darts. But if you bid for 10 or 20 bids and you just fill in every spot, 50, 49.99, 49.98, 97, 96, 95, you would win.
Yeah.
Oh.
Normally you'd win. So we got rid of that by showing that it was a game of skill. And then the cost to enter, the $10, we also got rid of that by saying refer some friends and you get free bids. So there was no cost to enter if you didn't want to. So we got rid of 2 of the 3, and you have to get rid of 1.
Yeah.
So that's how I fought it.
And was this online? Like, was it on a website or an app?
It was
or-
online, yeah.
What year is this?
Before apps, that's for sure. This was probably early 2000s.
Okay.
Yeah. So you think about it, people were also worried about, is my credit card going to get stolen?
Yeah, how legit is this?
Yeah, it was a different. It was.
And it was
tough.
just you, or like you had a
Just
team?
me. I mean, I wasn't the developer. I hired a lady out of India who eventually moved to the U.S. on a 501c3 or
Nonprofit,
not a nonprofit. Sorry,
like Visa,
a visa.
student visa,
It's a long time
like an
ago.
S1
but-
or something.
Yeah, so she
S9,
moved.
I don't know what it's called.
Her and her husband, and she was my developer, and
And you were just running this out of like what, your dorm room or something?
so I was Well, I moved to Indianapolis for it. So
Oh yeah.
I was running it. I tried to raise a bunch of money. I couldn't find it. I met this guy in the process, and he didn't invest money, but he gave me an office at his office. So
For equity or just like?
No, he just
back.
gave me a couple months to work out of this office. I dressed up every day like I was this old man, and I was trying to get this thing going.
So how'd it go? I mean, you said you got.
Yeah, it went good. I mean, good for I thought I was crushing it, but looking back, I was not. But it did lead me to learn a lot, and it led me to my next, I guess, thing, which was running this online business, this thing called affiliate marketing for a big brand in town called Finish Line. So
Finish
that
Line.
experience kind of led me to that, and then that's where
Is Finish Line from Indiana?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
they moved. So at that time it was, and then right when I was exiting, they were moving to like their .com piece to Denver or something.
Got it.
Yeah. So how did that transition happen? Did you end up selling the other company or?
Yeah, so sold it to some guys. I was kind of bored, didn't know what to do. And then my grandfather always said you need to work for somebody for 3 years. And, obviously I did not agree with him because I was an entrepreneur
Yeah.
and I could do this on my own. But his advice always meant a lot to me, and I always wanted to kind of make him proud. So that's where Finish Line came into the picture. And his advice was incredible because it was the best advice he could have given me.
How long did Bitteroo last?
7 years, something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So this was like pretty much your entire college.
Yeah.
So when did you start at Finish Line? Was it after like
Yeah, I graduated college.
Yeah.
And then, I graduated college, kind of, exited for a little bit of Bitteroo and tried that. Mm-hmm. And then I tried the retirement for a few months.
What did you
How'd
do?
that feel?
I was bored. I mean, my girlfriend at the time was working. My friends were in school or working. So I had nothing to do. So I was driving up to this casino and
Gambling.
losing money.
Actually,
Yeah.
So when you started Finish Line, what was your role there? Or
So I was, my first role was just doing affiliate marketing.
did you know anything about that?
Didn't even know what the hell it meant.
Yeah.
And
For those of our listeners that don't know what it is, what was it? What is it?
so basically so at the time you would buy ads online and you pay for like a CPM and it
Yeah.
would be $5.
Yeah.
So affiliate marketing is basically you only pay if they make a sale.
Right.
And then you're paying a commission. So cost per acquisition, CPA is what some people say, but
were these like the banner days? Or
banner
like
days, yeah.
Banner days. So that's like obviously like Instagram influencers or like affiliates in a way, right?
Right.
But like before that,
But before that, they're actually websites actually made sales, whereas influencers aren't really converting.
right? Yeah. It's a whole other podcast.
Yeah,
Breaking news.
yeah. But it's So banners and basically coupon sites were a massive thing because anytime we've shown the world that there's always going to be a coupon. So at the shopping cart on Finish Line or any other brand, you would see this coupon code box. And so we've trained the consumer to go and Google, what the hell, a coupon? Okay, I'll go and Google it. So they would go and Google Finish Line coupons. And that's where a lot of these affiliates were making their money. They'd get 10, percent commission, more, some less.
We had the founder of Honey on our podcast a while back.
Who's that?
They basically take all.
No,
these...
I know Honey. Who'd you have on?
Ryan Hudson.
Okay.
Yeah.
A guy that used to work for me works over there.
Oh, really?
I'm not a fan.
But that's pretty much what they're doing is like they're taking all these coupon codes from
they're
online.
stealing commissions from retailers. I mean, honestly, I would, if I was a retailer, I would not have Honey in my affiliate program at all, because you know how the Honey works. It's a toolbar company that a lot of these guys, there's a lot of other ones. They're not the first by any means. Shop at Home has been notorious for having toolbars for a long time. Retail Me Not, everybody's had them.
Yeah.
So basically what happens is I, the consumer, go to, let's say, Finish Line, or let's use Dope, for example. I go to dope.com, and I don't know there's coupon sites. I don't know there's affiliate things, and all of a sudden it pops up, hey, there's a coupon, and these people get commissioned. Right. I pay them commission for not even bringing the consumer.
Right.
They were going to buy anyways, and now I'm paying these toolbar Honey, a commission, which they did not deserve, and they didn't bring the sale, and now just raping the retailer.
Isn't, just to play devil's advocate here, because I like that, but isn't that also beneficial to you? Because now the consumer that has landed on your page organically or through some other way also got this positive user experience because they got a discount. So now they can potentially become a more loyal customer?
No, they were going to buy anyways. So they are going to be content, happy, and if they wanted a coupon, then they would just go and Google it in and do it anyways. So I would say no.
Okay, it's a fair answer.
Yeah, I mean,
because they're already like literally on the page where you click like place order, right?
They're there. They didn't bring me the consumer. It's like you're just. I'm paying you commission on my own sales.
I mean, they're making a lot of money from Amazon, if I'm not mistaken, because I mean, it's not like every other Amazon product.
Yeah.
There's like Honey.
Well, and this is the deal. The problem also with these toolbars is they cookie stuff.
Right.
So cookie stuffing is basically, you don't even know, like let's say you're on Amazon. There's no coupons for Amazon. So you're on Amazon shopping. You have their toolbar. They're automatically they're stuffing your computer with the cookie so that they get credit for the sale even though they didn't do anything.
Right.
So it's they're stealing commissions from retail, from every retail, and they're basically having a virus on your computer where they're getting paid every time you shop.
Yeah,
it's a virus,
and you're agreeing to it.
You're agreeing to having this virus on your computer. Now, not only are they getting paid, but they're also seeing everywhere you go, everywhere you go on the internet, and they can control your search results. So if you Google something and they know that they can change that Google that Google search result. It's crazy if people allow these things on their computer. It's a virus. That's what it is.
It's an interesting viewpoint. I like that. Because
my company, that a lot of our competitors had these.
Right.
And we looked into launching one.
This for Finish Line?
No, this is after Finish Line. I had a coupon site.
Got it.
It's sold to coupons.com. But we were one of the largest affiliates in the world, and especially working with all these major brands. So we looked for how do we make more money? How do we keep growing? So we looked at, a toolbar, and at the end of the day, it's just a shady business, and none of the retailers liked it, and there's so many things that are wrong with it. And so we decided that let's stick to what we do and doing white hat things and not being shady with toolbars.
So that's essentially what affiliate marketing was or is, and that's what you were doing at Finish Line.
Yeah, sorry.
So, no. I mean, it was a good.
I went on a rant. I haven't talked about toolbars in a very long time.
Well, yeah, no, I'm glad it came out.
What was the biggest takeaway from just working at a big company like Finish? I don't know how big it was at the time, but I'm sure they were in every mall at the time.
I mean, listen, my biggest takeaway is work for a company for 3 years and then learn relationships, learn what you're doing, and then go do your own thing. So for me, I learned it inside and out. I created relationships. So I created relationships with retailers and affiliates. And then I went ahead and I owned an affiliate site and utilized those same relationships, all those retailers, because I was in the same industry. We'd go to all these different conferences and you become friends with these guys. Then when I acquired the affiliate site, then I just hit up all my relationships, Macy's, Sears, Home Depot, whatever, and said, hey, we should work together. You should come in and let me do deals with you. So I think that's the biggest takeaway is, use every piece of your life to your advantage. And, that I learned a lot about, relationships to the affiliate side. I learned what all my clients were doing. I would just ask them, hey, what are you doing? How are you doing this? So for 4 years, they were giving me all the information because I was on the retailer, and I was, becoming legitimately friends with the whole industry. And then when I started my own, I had my clients.
I read somewhere that you were a big part of the growth of Finish Line. I mean, what was your day-to-day like? What were the responsibilities you had? What did you do to have that result of ultimately helping this company grow?
So a lot of the retailers, you're managing so many affiliates. We had thousands of affiliates. So it's tough to have a relationship with these guys. So you're just a number. They would send you and say, here, 20% off coupon, and we'll pay you 10% commission. So as an affiliate, you're adding the coupon to the website, or you're writing a blog article or whatever, and then you're hoping for 10% commission. So think about it from an affiliate standpoint. I'm also working with, let's put myself out of the affiliate side. So I worked at Finish Line. So the affiliates are working with thousands of retailers as well. Mm-hmm. So if I'm just emailing them, them seeing my email and putting any effort behind it, good luck. So what I did was I was personally calling them, personally emailing them, figured out who my top guys were, and built relationships. So now, instead of being one of the thousands of people they're working with, I'm their most important. Mm-hmm. So now they're going to give me more love and put me on their homepage placement. They're going to, work on their marketing efforts to drive sales for me, because now it's they're getting attention.
And who were these brands, just high level? What kind of brands were they? Were they in the apparel business or just?
So for Finish Line, my biggest affiliates were Definitive Deals, which was, you've never heard of it, but that was the company that I ended up acquiring half of. Mm-hmm. That business was doing millions of dollars a year. There was Retail Me Not. There was coupons.com wasn't big at the moment. You had a lot of these different coupon sites or affiliate sites. And so then what I would do is, no one ever did a contest before. And they were all, at this point I was dealing with all the owners. So they were, making millions of bucks a year. So me giving them a television, okay, that's not going to incentivize them. So I would do trips. And I got the okay by just trying to, plead my case to the board and to my bosses. And anyway, so I started doing, highest percentage growth year over year. And then I'll take you to Aruba. I did one to Costa Rica. I did one to, did 2 cruises. Did one to Prague and Amsterdam. I just did all these kind of crazy things. And that really drove sales, because everybody's fighting to go on these trips with me.
Yeah. And how big was that team? Were you just running?
It was just me.
Okay. So who were you answering to? The CMO?
I forget the title of the person, but probably, yeah.
So it was a really small, within that big company, it was just your thing.
Yeah, because you think about it, the business wasn't that big. It was, probably internet. Affiliate was 3% of their business. So it was small.
And you grew it to what percent by the time you were out?
27 or something.
So a third.
Yeah, it was huge. Yeah. Of their online business. Yeah, it was big.
So you were there 3 years?
4 years, I think.
And then you knew that was it, you had to move on to your own thing, or?
They treated me very well. I liked working there. At that point, anywhere when you're there for 4 years, you've got this thing on autopilot.
Yeah.
So, and the growth was consistent because I had all the relationships. It's if you do something, you just text. Yeah. You text the people instead of emailing them. Yo, I need more sales. Help me out. So I was comfortable.
Right.
But also my life isn't about being comfortable, but it was tough because you have this consistent living in Indianapolis. I was living great. I put money that I made from that into other things. And then from my previous .com, I invested in other things. So, I had
other businesses?
Yeah. So I had that kind of, growing for me, but.
And did you know sorry to cut you off, but did you know a lot about just investing in companies, or did you kind of go with your gut feeling? What was your approach to investing at that time?
No, I was an idiot. I invested in a bar, because it was across the street from my house, and these 2 slime balls, Sean Cannon, and I can't think of this other guy's name, just complete losers and frauds. And I mean, I went back to Indianapolis. I still own this damn thing. Went back and ordered a drink, and they said, "Sorry, we bought the bar like 6 months ago. You don't own it." So these idiots sold the company. Didn't even tell me.
Oh my God.
So I was an idiot. I was young, and just invested with crooks. So you live and learn, and every investment that you make, you try to learn a little bit more how to protect yourself. And also, I think that's important too, because then if you ever raise money, which I've never raised money before, but if I ever do raise money, which, you want to make sure that you see all the slime balls that you've put money into before and what they've done, that you're like, man, I wish you would have treated me differently.
Yeah.
Like, give me some stats on how the company's doing. Let me know what's going on. Like, give me some updates instead of just at the end of the year, or when the investor asks for information, give it to them.
Which you don't even know if it's like accurate or not because there is no system in place.
Right. So I think that's what life's about.
Oh, so you made $30,000 in profit this year. Interesting.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was basically very content, and in my head, I was crushing it. I was making great money for being a young guy. And
You were like, what, 25, 26 years old, or?
No, it's probably, I don't know, probably let's say 25 or something.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Maybe, I'm not sure. But I was comfortable. And then the president of Finish Line, I was working out with him, played ping pong with him. He was a nice guy. And so then he retired, and I was kind of thinking about going anyways. And so I just resigned right after him and figured, hey, this is a perfect reason to go.
And did you have, like, I know you said you acquired the other coupon company. Did that happen kind of at the same time, or you just left and then figured that out?
So when I resigned, basically, then he called me and said, "Copycat, stay around for a little bit."
Yeah.
And so I did, and so I plan on, I stayed around for a few months. And in those 3 months or 4 months, however the hell it was, I just started reaching out to all the affiliates that I worked with, that I was managing, and basically saying, I'm moving on soon. Let's work something out. Let's partner up. And I know this industry. I know the relationships. You know me. So let's do it. So, it's tough doing that and wanting a big piece of the business like I wanted and I thought I deserved. It's got to be the right business. You can't go into a massive company and say, "Hey, I want equity." They're going to say, "Fly a kite,"
Yeah.
So
Catch us at the IPO.
I'm sorry?
Catch us at the IPO or something.
Yeah. So I knew this guy, and I liked him. We became friends over the years. He was our biggest affiliate. And, the friendship grew that I trusted him. I thought he was great. I got to know his wife, and he had a son. And, he was just a one-man shop doing an incredible business. And I thought he also, from a business partner, would be perfect for me because he was completely kind of different than me as far as what I brought to the table and what he brought to the table. And so he agreed. And then we partnered up. I got 20% of the business, but then I earned 10% increments until we doubled.
Okay.
And then I would add 50%, and we were 50-50 partners.
And what was the business? I don't know if
It's called Definitive Deals.
Oh, so that was okay.
But we rolled it in, and we called it a different company, and tried different things and did different businesses within it. But it was all Definitive Deals.
And you said this was one guy running it?
Initially, yeah, one guy running it, and then him and I then started recruiting talent from other competitors.
Yeah.
And
Were you happy doing this? Like, I mean, looking back, were you content with the industry that you were in and with the work that you were doing on day to day, and waking up and being just pumped to go to work and hustle? I mean, is that something that you enjoyed looking back?
I loved it because you think about it, going back to when I was a kid, when I told you I loved like the sale and getting a deal done, this was getting deals done every day because I was going and winning, Home Depot and getting their trademark rights, and, or 1-800 contacts, or Bloomingdale's or Macy's, or I was going and winning these accounts, and that was kind of like my fun, and that's what I love to do. So there was this big brand at one of the conferences, this massive brand And they never accepted this kind of trademark rights because
Right.
everybody could be affiliated. We were doing the search, but we had to go and get the rights for the trademarks for the brands, and it's just tough to get because a big brand wants to protect their trademark. And I remember being at this conference, and these two ladies were at the table. It was like lunch. It was myself, my business partner, and it was two other competitors, the owners of it. And one of them was a big affiliate for this brand. I think their largest. I mean, they were a massive business in the affiliates side. And so I waited it out. This lady said what company it was. So I waited out until the two other owners, these two other businesses, my competitors, left because they already worked with this brand. They didn't, they had a relationship. It was fine. And then as soon as they left, I brought up trademark or whatever. Or I remember my business partner looked at me and said, "I know what you're going to do. You have no chance." And I was just, I've always thought I can just get it, whatever, do whatever, So I'm like, laughed in my head going, this guy is, no, come on, of course I'm going to get this done.
Yeah.
And so anyways, we ended up getting that big brand. We got the rights. But I just liked that impossible like going after those big
Also, in the
deals.
meantime, you're like meeting all these people, like big people at big companies where it's like
And you become friends. You think about it. We were going to these industry events in Vegas twice a year or something, in New York, in Santa Barbara, in Texas. You're going around all throughout the year, let's say 6 times a year, and seeing them for a week at a time, and going to incredible parties, incredible events all together. So you become really close to these people, and you do this for 4 years.
Yeah.
Which is like a form of capital in and of itself. It's like social capital. Like you make money and you make deals, but I think a lot of entrepreneurs and people in business, like in general, they could be working at a company too, who are in that deal making process, forget that. Like they're just so focused on the money aspect and making those deals, but they're not really cognizant of the fact that you're building relationships. So focus on that too, because it's just as important, if not more.
And I was young.
Yeah.
So I liked that stuff. Like I was throwing massive parties for both Finish Line and when I had my own business. And so I liked that aspect. Now I'm older. I don't have to work. Like I'm only going to have dinner with you if I like you. Or I'm only going to hang out with you if I really like you, So it's like back then I was just ready to network because I loved it. I love meeting new people. I love hanging out with new people, and I was just more hungry. I was, I had to grind. So you become friends with those guys, and then you all want to help each other because it wasn't like California. Everybody lived in Indiana, like weird places, not weird places, but they live in places where it's like real people, like Indiana, where it's you like them because they're good people. Whereas where some parts of the world you like them because what they can do for you. And this industry was so great because it was like Indiana people. Like you were friends with them because I wasn't friends with them because they were going to give me a better coupon or a better commission.
Yeah.
You're friends with them generally because they were nice people.
Hanging out with them.
Yeah, they're cool. They're nice. They're sweet. They didn't want anything out of you. They only going to get paid X dollars a year, and them doing this.
They're actually craving those real relationships at that point.
Yeah.
Rob, did you end up selling this business as well, or?
Yeah, I sold it. Changed my life. Sold it to a public company, Silicon Valley. 3 years. It was good.
That was coupons.com.
Yeah. I mean, we were always doing well because the business was doing so well, so we were making great money. But, then it's like a big exit. It's great.
And what was the feeling then? I mean, were you just like overjoyed or were you just like, all right, perfect, on to the next thing?
I was kind of just like, all right, cool. This is great because, again, it's like the money didn't really change for me. Like, I didn't care really about the money. I just liked the game of it. So it was,
They approached you, or were you like ready to sell?
No, we hired an investment bank out of Silicon Valley that sold one of our other competitors called Retail Me Not.
Gotcha.
I think Retail Me Not got like 180 million cash plus stock. So I hired the same. I flew out to Melbourne. The founders of those companies met with one of them and talked about the investment bank, and so we hired that one.
So you guys felt like, oh, Retail Me Not just got sold. Like we're in a good position to get sold to whatever, another big competitor.
I was strategic from the beginning as far as, I kind of had a plan that was in 3 years we were going to sell. So first year, build a great business, hire the right people. Second year, utilize that growth from that team to really grow it. And third year, and the whole time build like a brand of the industry. No one really built a brand. And so that's what we did. We threw big parties. We campaigned for awards and really built a brand within that industry. So we are kind of like the best I would say we were the best in the industry from a branding standpoint, from a, we did stuff for those clients for every major brand.
Yeah.
We were just really on it.
And strategically, like you knew like what you were building, these brands like coupons.com would need that.
Well, I didn't know Coupons was going to be our buyer. That was a strategic fit for them because they were great at organic search results and driving traffic that way. And we were great at driving traffic via paid search with the trademark rights. So for them, it was great because organically, you're very risky because Google can change their algorithm at any time. And then you go from the first spot on the page to the last spot. So you go from making, millions and millions of dollars per account to zero. So for them, it was a good move, I think, in my head, because you're kind of limiting, we weren't really a risky play. Because if we lost Macy's, we still had Bloomingdale's. If we lost Bloomingdale's, we still had Sears. If we lost Sears, we still had Overstock. So we had, but whereas if you change one algorithm, you lose all of them.
Yeah.
So we were like a good, safe play. In addition, we had such great relationships that, let's say one retailer, they're getting paid 3%, whereas we were getting paid 8%. So if you could just switch, 500 of those accounts to be more commission because of our relationships, it was a good strategic play.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was a good strategic fit for.
Yeah. So you end up selling the business. Like, I mean, I'm sure like everything changed, but like what was life like after that? Like, what did you even know what you would be doing?
So stayed there for 18 months and like helping,
transition over.
My business partner, I think, is still there.
Really?
Years later, because they basically pay you. I don't know what I'm allowed to say from the deal because I'm not allowed to say numbers.
Yeah. But generally, it's like a combination of like
they pay you a big up front, and then it's an earn out over for a little extra. It was an earn out over 18 months, and then it was like. You could stay there for another 4 years and get paid.
It's kind of like vesting your, shares or whatever. Yeah.
I was
it's usually like 3-4 years they make you stay.
If you want, or you can turn down the money and walk away. So my business partner took the money and stayed and worked. And I said, I'm good. I'm going to do my own shit. So let's go.
And that was dope.
Well, then I invested in this vapor company. And, I took some time just to travel for 3 years and invest in things. So I invested in this. I invested in this vapor company. So I did that one.
And that's anywhere.
That's anywhere. Yeah. So it pivoted to another industry that I didn't know they would go to when I first invested.
Right.
Which was
but like now this is like later on where like you're older, you've seen more, you're more experienced. What was your strategy at this point? Not just kind of throwing money at any business. Like, did you have
I like big multiples. So that's why I always like tech. It sells for big multiples. And I saw vapor as another big multiple. It was when these businesses were selling for
it's like CBD
10 times revenue or 5, it's the THC back when the vapor was what weed is right now from a revenue, from a exit standpoint. So I like those. Clothing, the revenue or the multiple you sell for,
it's not that much,
is bullshit. So I didn't buy dope for clothing because the multiple is not there. I bought dope to go into THC
and branding.
Yeah, because the multiple, it's just a much bigger multiple.
Yeah. So, and the clothing and stuff is kind of like a supplementary thing.
It's a branding move, and it's a marketing play. It's an incredible brand that's been around for a very long time. And
so how did that happen? I mean, was it just a brand that had been going for years and you just came in and bought the entire thing, or you invested in it? What was that like?
It was founded in Indiana. Met the guys a long time ago, like 10 years, 11 years ago. Tried to invest, didn't make sense from me or them. kept in touch, tried to buy it 4 years ago. They didn't have some trademarks that I wanted, and they also had a lot of debt that I didn't know about. And then I sold, and I was, I'm like, hey, this is everywhere in the world I'd go. I'd see Dope. Consistently watch the products be great quality products. They never, I guess devalued the brand by selling a bunch to TJ Maxx or Marshalls or whatever. And a lot of times that's what they'll do. They'll just, the brand will peak and then they'll just start pimping it out at those places and just tank the brand. They never did that. It's always stayed consistently high quality product, high price product. The right people have always been wearing it.
And the name, they have
and the name is incredible. So that's why I came in and I bought 100% of the business.
Did they have the trademark for THC back then too, or no?
Yeah, that's what got the interest for me. You can't trademark a drug,
right?
But I have it for
like
everything
products.
else. Yeah, I have it for vaporizer, smoking tips, bongs, all these different things. But so I can go into whatever with those lighters, ashtrays. I think the name is so perfect for that.
Right.
And if you continue to make the best quality product in those fields, then you'll be fine.
For sure.
And that was the plan from the beginning.
Correct.
So that was how long ago? How many years ago?
2 years.
2 years ago. So you bought Dope, and did you even know anything about running a retail or like a clothing business, or you were just kind of like?
Well, I thought I knew a little, but then you realize you know nothing.
Yeah.
That's the fun thing about I think for me tech was like easy template. I could do it again. I wanted more of a challenge. So, and I like big multiples, so that's where I thought I could take it. But no, I didn't know clothing. I can't even tell you that what I thought I knew, I was so wrong.
Yeah.
What did you know?
Well, looking back, I knew nothing.
Was it like the e-commerce play that got you like, oh yeah, this is like I can figure this Shopify thing out too?
Yeah, I knew how to drive revenue online. That's what I've been doing. So dope.com, what a great domain. I was on the retail side, grew a finish line massively, so I thought I could just do that.
And what was different? What went wrong, but like what surprised you?
Well, clothing is just an interesting business. This brand was very wholesale driven. So you have to figure out how to maneuver that. And, product has to, because we're wholesale driven, we're designing product, a year in advance and making sure that it's hot and predicting what's going to be hot in a year in advance. So just learning that and learning how to maneuver and how to grow and to be an industry leader it was a learning process. And still every day we're learning and getting better. I'll tell you, the company today is 1,000 times better than when I bought it. And and we're getting better and better every day.
Is that because of your vision of the future, or is it just because you've been able to actually figure out what it is that the company was doing well and focus on that?
So it's a combination of everything. I think the team is different now. So, that it plays a big part in it. I think we've got an incredible team. The systems in place now are better. The product is better. The marketing is better. I think, we've done a lot for the business. Not saying that the company wasn't incredible before. I think, the original team and owners did an incredible job building this brand and building the company. But, with anything, I think you have to leave your own mark and make things better.
So you talk about THC, and I'm assuming you're also involved in the CBD space as well. Are there any products that are already out right now, or what's in development, or what's coming next in terms of that industry?
So we'll be live in, I would say, no later than 2 months.
Okay. So August, September?
Yes, 6 states we should be set in. But, for me, what's important is making sure that dope is dope. You can't go to market with bad product because it changes the whole name and meaning of dope.
Right.
So, it will be like having Kellogg's Frosted Flakes and everything else will be like the Ralph's or Kroger brand.
Right.
Yeah. That's very important to me. The stamp of approval of dope and our quality of product will be the only thing that's important to me. So that's been, I've focused on that for about 2 years now, making sure that we have the right stuff and that it is dope and that it's the best out there.
So what are the products that are coming out?
So initially, we'll do, vape pins, we'll do pre-rolls, we'll probably do like custom gummies, A+ flower. Those would be kind of the start. And then we'll roll out more products as...
What's been the biggest issue in terms of dealing with the regulations and stuff with that industry or with this industry?
Well, that's part of the reason also why I've delayed, because the regulations keep changing. They changed several hundred times last year. And so for me, I wanted to make sure that the regulations kind of shook out a little bit and got better before we went to market, because the whole point of this is to just grow a great business that's legal and that's, all white hat stuff. So we waited a long time to make sure that it shook out a lot, and then now it's time to go. So, just making sure you have the right legal behind you to make sure and that you're legal and safe and doing the best you can. And that's what we've been doing.
And I'm sure you thought a lot about this, but like, are you concerned at all of like how the public is gonna receive like the fact that it's gonna be under the dope brand, right? Like it's known as an apparel brand, like it's gonna transition over to this. Like, is that something that's been in the works at all, or are you just kind of come out with a bang like this is what we're doing now?
I mean, to be honest with you, I've asked even conservative retailers what they think if we go into THC and other products, and they said that I think it'll make the brand even better. For me, I think I don't really care if people don't like the brand because it's going into THC,
But is that something like the brand has stood for that like feeds into, or like, I guess what is,
I think the brand culture is saying, hey, you're not wearing dope if you're
not smoking dope.
Well, if you're not confident with yourself, and with listening to the world say, doing this, I think you're wearing dope when you're like, fuck you, this is me, this is what I wear. And it's wild clothes. It's always been that way. So I think the same thing with smoking dope, smoking weed, it's like, hey, I'm gonna wear this shit because I like it.
And I feel like the culture is aligned, right? Like it's not it's not like you're selling like burgers one day and then you're fucking. I mean, I guess you could sell weed too, but like it's not like you're selling burgers one day and like furniture the next. Like, it's not like the industries they don't
totally different.
They kind of like flow into one another. I mean,
for sure,
people that are in that culture and have been kind of relevant and have stayed up to date with the trends, whether with clothing or whether with smoking or whether with food or whatever it may be, are probably part of the same kind of, they're cut from the same cloth.
For sure.
So I think, I don't know, in my point of view, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you're not wearing a product that just, you want,
It's not like Banana Republic going into like weed.
Correct.
I mean, hey, who knows?
Who knows?
But like, for sure. It's not like a Banana Republic, Old Navy saying, yo, now we're selling weed.
Yeah.
I think dope, the culture is, it's people that are confident in themselves, and because of that, they're able to wear funky product that not everybody can pull off.
Right.
And, that's the great thing about dope. And those people are also like, hey, I want to smoke weed. I'm going to smoke weed. And so it's the same culture, same vibe.
Yeah. And is the idea to like have it be sold through retail or online or both? I mean, I know there's still a lot of
rules and regulations with THC and CBD, but I want to sell to the right places wherever we can get it out to the right people, and
like sort of distribution.
Yeah, I mean, we're pulling back from the malls anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, the malls are pulling back from the malls, so there's no malls.
The brands, DTLR, Foot Action, I think they're dead.
I don't even know what those are.
Yeah, they're East Coast brands that, I think the way they do business is terrible.
Yeah.
And, I don't want my brand sold in there anymore. Today we just pulled out of Macy's. So I'm pulling away from these malls and going into the cool boutique shops, and I see that's where dope is going to be in the future. The only mall based, I think, the big one that I think will continue with is like the Buckle, because their denim program is so incredible. They definitely know jeans better than anybody I've ever come across. So we'll sell jeans there, but most of the other mall stores will probably stop and go to the boutiques, because also those boutiques will sell our other products like CBD or weed if that becomes legal. But it just kind of gets us back, keeps us in the culture more.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah. Otherwise, like you said, might as well just go to Marshall's or something.
And that's just not my my MO.
So what is your day to day like? I mean, are you mostly focused on dope right now, or do you have like a bunch of other things that you're doing?
It's mostly dope, yeah. But my days are slammed. It's busy.
Like just focusing on like your investments and things like that, or
making a lot of moves. I mean, right now it's a lot of big decisions as far as the future of it. How to grow this thing. It's different if the brand has one store, and if I was content with one store, my schedule wouldn't be that busy. I'd be chill. Like, we make clothes, we sell wholesale, we have one store, we're great. I bought this business to, sell for a few $1 billion. So for me, the aggressive hunger creates more busy of a lifestyle. So right now I'm just busy trying to figure out how to grow this thing and making sure that we're protected when I am ready to sell it.
Yeah.
When you're not playing the game of business, what game are you playing?
Catan.
Oh, really?
Have you played it?
Not yet. I know. It's bad.
You'll like it. It's like Risk and Monopoly combined. Oof. And you beat it and you play it with like an hour. 4 players, and you can get the expansion pack to 6.
So you just have a bunch of friends come by and just...
Everybody I've ever played with, they've become addicted. So
that's my
you'll love
fear.
it.
Yeah.
It's great. My friend Ariel and Levi, taught them. They're addicted. Friend Tori and Andre, addicted. Anybody, if you like business, you'll become addicted. But it's it's a brilliant game. It really is, because it's never the same. The board's always different. It's a random chance, but also skill. So I played all weekend. My family was in town.
Okay,
I didn't lose once.
Sold me.
Yeah, maybe our next podcast episode we just play Catan the whole time while we're talking.
It's a great
I have a lot
game.
of friends that play. I never got myself into it because I was like, I know this is gonna be like bad if I do.
It's a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll like it. So that's what game, because it's very business oriented. It's taking over.
Yeah. Just building an empire.
Building an empire.
I'm curious right now, considering that you're an investor, an entrepreneur. What is one of your favorite companies out there right now that you wish you invested in early on?
Wow. Amazon. I mean, they're crushing it.
What's like one that's like under the radar, but like you're like, I wish I invested in them because they're gonna be big or they're on the way up.
I mean, if I wasn't the owner of this, I would have said I wish I could invest in dope. I mean, with me running it and where it's going, I would sink every dollar I had into it.
Good answer.
Love it.
I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. I bet on myself every day. I don't put. It's like I'd much rather put money in my own thing. Mm-hmm. I believe in myself more than I believe in somebody else.
Yeah, and I know, like, I'm sure the business is like competitive in terms of just whose brand is doing better than the other, and I don't know much about it, but I can imagine it's just like any other industry type of thing. But like, how much do you kind of bounce off of like other folks in this industry? Like, is it really competitive, or is it more like people helping each other out?
I think it's both. I've got some friends in the industry that I don't go to for advice as much as I should probably, but my relationships are important. I mean, so that president that resigned from Finish Line, I hit him and two other executives from Finish Line that are now retired for advice on retail expansion. This past weekend, I called Michael Greenberg, who started Skechers. He's still the CEO of Skechers, and I called him for some advice.
Is he still the CEO? Wow.
Yeah, him. Yeah,
That's crazy.
I think he's the CEO still. He's a great guy. So I'll still reach out to people that for advice occasionally, but I probably should reach out more.
Love it. Well, it's been awesome, Rob. Thanks for
Thanks
taking
for
the time
having
to
me.
chat and share your story with us. I mean, like obviously we see dope everywhere. So as a clothing brand, it's obviously as it's killing it. But we'll see what happens, and we're excited to see what happens with.
We'll get you
the
guys some
shift.
dope weed.
Looking forward to
And
it.
that's the thing. On the East Coast, it's even bigger than the West Coast. So
Yeah.
I need to focus on
Yeah.
bringing it here more. But hopefully you'll see it a lot more. I think you will. I didn't buy it to keep it the same.
Right.
We may pull back on distribution to make it a little more exclusive, but you'll definitely keep seeing it.
Love it.
Awesome, man.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it.